Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio. Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talent, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution radio show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Pineo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Bangladesh. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan. And Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Hello.
Yes, we are live with Zhana, live from London, and this is Success Strategies with Zhana. Well, good evening, Zhana.
Welcome, everybody. And happy New Year. It's January, so happy January, everybody. I hope you had a really lovely holiday season. Sorry, I'm a Buddhist, so I don't actually observe Christmas, but I still really enjoyed the holiday season, so I hope you did as well. And today we're going to be talking about financial prosperity and financial planning. My guest today is Steve Mosley, who's a tax consultant.
Yes.
If you have a question for me or for my guest, Steve Mosley, please phone 515-605-9325.
Absolutely.
And outside the United States, you need to add a 001 next to that, so 001 515-605-9325. And you can also find us on Facebook at The Female Solution and on YouTube at The Female Solution. Welcome to my Success Strategies show. I'm here in the first study every month to help you find solutions and strategies for any problems or challenges you may be experiencing. We're here to help you make 2024 your best year yet. So I'm not sure, is my...
Yes, your guest is here. Yes, he's live with us on screen. Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Steve. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well, too.
So I'm
Yes.
glad that you've come on my show today as a guest. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
A little bit about your background, a little bit about your history.
Yeah, your background and history. That should be quite interesting.
Well, my background in history, of course, I was born and raised here in the city of Chicago. Come from a family of five. Now a family of three now. Lost two biological brothers to gun violence, and then also single father. Had full legal custody of my daughter. Now she'll be 23 on 20th of this month. I have a 6-year-old grandson that's on the honor roll. So now I'm off on my own. So I'm able to really expand my horizons. Saying going through the trials and tribulations of where we at now. So unfortunately, I lost. Yeah. So unfortunately, I lost my mom too in 21. She was inspirational in me incorporating. Yes, yes, yes. But God is still good. I'm still here. So it's obviously a purpose in my life. You know what I'm saying? So
So, yeah. Tell us a bit about how and why you became a tax consultant. Before you do that, just want to remind everybody who's listening, if you've got a question about financial planning or financial prosperity, for my guest today, Steve Mosley, he's a tax consultant, and he might give you some brilliant advice. Like I'm sure he will give you some brilliant advice about your tax planning and about your financial planning and your financial prosperity. So please phone in. The number is 515 605-9325. And outside the United States, put a 001 in front of that. So 001 515 605 9325. So we're just going to get into it now, but I want to remind you as well. You can also find us on YouTube at Email Solutions and on Facebook at Email Solutions. So, Steve, yeah. How did you get into being a tax consultant? What did that involve?
Well, to be truthfully honest, believe it or not, math was my worst subject. I couldn't stand math. I hated numbers. Me and numbers were me and, me and numbers were like worst enemies. I tell you. But the thing about it is that when you get
it's the same thing with Einstein. So there you go. You and Einstein got that in common with me as well, I should say. So
wow.
how did you actually get into go from struggling with numbers like many of us do to becoming a tax consultant, which most of us don't do?
Well, I would say it was my journey as being a single father at the time. I needed more income because I was doing the home care. I was working for a company by the name of Addis Home Care at the time. And as a single father, it was a struggle. So then, just going through, I wanted more and a lot of other things I wanted to accomplish in life. And, then in the process, I have to take care of a young lady. It's not like she's a boy, but she was a girl. So a girl has more needs. So, you got to be a little bit more handle them with care. So you got to be really strategic about how you move. So I was looking like I was praying to God. I said, man, I need to give me another opportunity to get some more monies or funds coming from somewhere so I can, be able to make ends meet, let alone to be able to accomplish my goals and dreams beyond where I was at. So I saw this ad in the Currency Exchange on 75th Street because I'm right off 75th King Drive here in Chicago. And I saw a sign, green sign that said, we'll hire, we'll, we'll train tax preparers. They said no experience necessarily looking for tax preparers. And they said you have to have an experience. So it was there that I'm looking like, oh, no, I'm not going to be doing nobody taxes now. So it's like the spirit, my spirit man within me spoke to me and said, look, at the end of the day, dude, you asked for an opportunity. You wanted an opportunity. Now I'm giving you an opportunity. So what are you going to do with it now? So you have no choice. You have to take it. So I was like, okay, well, I got into it and everything. It was kind of like a little rough patch for me because in the process of me being almost practically homeless too, at the time, me and my daughter going from place to place, it was a lot to really, really focus on. So, in the process of trying to keep my car, it was a lot. But in the process, that's where my journey began. Shout outs to a young lady by the name of Darlene Tate that was experienced in the industry as far as tax consulting goes, everything about taxes and She pretty much was a pro at, and I learned a lot of things about guerrilla marketing, street marketing, promotions, and things like that. So I was able to, move forward and get deep into the finances and really get certified and get my credentials, as far as dealing with accounting work because taxes, it went beyond the personal because after my experience with in 2019 with losing, well, not so much lose job, but the job was on some illegal stuff. We won't get into that, but I believe it was just a push for me to go ahead and to get fully into my own thing. But to answer your question, because I don't want to get too far ahead, I don't want to jump too far ahead. That's how it all began for my career as a tax consultant. It's been a single father. That might have been about 10 years ago, maybe about 10, 12 years ago.
I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to interrupt you because I've got someone at the door. I need to sort something out. I'm really sorry. Let me just, can we go to commercial, please? For just a minute.
No problem.
Without this.
Yes. So we'll be right back after this quick break.
They would like to be wealthy, but wealth isn't determined by how much money
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Wealth is determined by your power to define what money is. The dictionary defines money as something used as a way to pay for goods and services and to pay people for their work. So how would you like to have access to an unlimited source of money? Money that is not taxed by the government. Money that increases as you share the opportunity with others. Money that you can use to pay for goods and services and pay people for their work. I'm talking about Bitcoin. It's the future of independent wealth building. Bitcoin is the new money that you control. Building your wealth. Call 312-849-3456. 312-849-3456.
All right. And while we wait for our host to return, we'll share another message with you, and then we'll be right back.
About finances, family, health, jobs, relationships. Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answered yes to any of these questions, help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. You only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down-to-earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. Whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish a book, promote your product or service, or just make extra money. Take advantage of the deal of the day. Go to zeldaspeaks.com or call 312-409-6619. Mention promo code Female Solution and get free shipping. That's zeldaspeaks.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit zeldaspeaks.com. I'm Bianca, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in the present moment? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? More about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com. Yourholisticlifecoach.com. I'm Bianca.
All right, we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show, and this is Success Strategies with Zhana. And Zhana, are you back with us? She'll be right back in just a moment. But while we wait her return, I've got a question because I know a lot of friends that
Yeah.
are going through some financial stress. And it's interesting that a financially stressful situation is actually what motivated you to get into the tax business. But a lot of people, they get stressed out around this season because the whole tax business just seems so complicated and so scary, and they're worried about the IRS and going to jail if they file the papers wrong. The training that you went through, did it dispel a lot of the mystery of the tax system? I mean, did you find it easy, or was it very complicated learning all the tax laws and procedures?
Well, the part about that's the theory part about the tax laws, and at first it's like almost like a boring lecture. But I think because you're like, what the heck is this? You know what I'm saying? But as you're listening to it, you will hear case scenarios, and they had case scenarios where we had to resolve those case scenarios, and then she just gave an example of how you resolve it, pretty much like conflict resolution, almost like.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she went about it, and then like it was just so smooth. Like she would give us case scenarios because we all had encountered as a taxpayer, from a taxpayer standpoint, these type of situations. You know what I mean? So those laws kind of like enlighten us, like, okay, man. So that's why this is going on. I remember when I had a situation like that, when I had a case scenario where years ago where I filed my sister's son, which is my nephew, and the grandmother had already filed him, so they put a freeze and a hold on my account and everything else. And I wonder where my money was coming is because the dependent was already filed. And see, back then the tax laws were like a little bit more complex than they are now because people are, we're in the age of information with the technology and things like that. So people are able to, go onto these social media platforms and look at these short videos, things like that. So, but that, after a while, it started sinking in because I was going through my trials and tribulations at that point in my time of my life too. But once I got really settled and really got into knowing what was going on, I started, digging a little bit more deeper, doing like a little research and extending my basis of what I learned just out being a regular tax preparer when I first was trained to get my credentials as in accounting and different things like that, and being able to have, the necessary credentials from the IRS to even engage in doing taxes.
So is one of the credentials you have to be an accountant in order to be a tax preparer? Is that
Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But if you want to go deep into, and you want to really dive into what's going on, then you have to, especially from the business standpoint. You talk about it in corporations and things like that, business taxes. You dealing with like profit and loss statements and balance sheets. I knew nothing of what none of that was about. And then also too, my completion upon the Joseph Business School outside of getting my credentials, saying in 2022, taking up a business course, learning how to actually put together a solid business plan, and then we'll be having my tax professionalism experience and things like that. Really like catapulted my business.
I mean, is that primarily help your clients to put together a business plan?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Sure. Sorry, I'm back.
Yes.
When you start learning about business planning, is that primarily so that you can help your clients with their business planning?
Most definitely, because we're a whole overall tax firm. Because, like I said, this whole thing is just so ironic that I'm talking about Sam Living Legacy, because the original plan wasn't for Sam Living Legacy. See, my background is in production. I had incorporated a non-for-profit 501c3 that deals with mental health because I lost two biological brothers to gun violence. So all this kind of like played a part in the reason why we're at where we're at now. And Sam Living Legacy wasn't even thought about, but when COVID hit, during the time my mom, before she passed, because she inspired me to incorporate this business and things like that. So I started thinking like, wait a minute, is these funds, the money started coming, I was able to tap into those COVID funds. I said, it's like God spoke to my spirit, said, look here, people always coming to you for different things like printing, faxing, things like that, taxes and everything else. Why don't you set up your own tax firm? And God spoke to me, and that's when we came up with Sam Living Legacy, which we are a one-stop shop experience. Flip side with the digital side of marketing, and it's a lot of components that have gone on to it, but we whole tax firm.
It sounds to me, from what you were saying a little while ago, that your primary motivation was looking after your daughter, and that was your inspiration. Is that true?
Right. Yes, that's definitely true because my life as a single father, it was a struggle. Just not, it wasn't even so much of the struggle. It was just the system. The system was just so corrupt. And just like, just the unfairness, just the unjust that I went through for 19 years because my daughter be 23. Like even to this day, like they still owe me. So, the things about it, that'll be another subject for another time. But it's the reason why I'm in the situation I'm in, to able to know how to go about, getting back rightfully, what was taken, because I went through a lot. But when I found out the system and how the system works, they work through a lot of contracts, through all these, that's why you got to know the laws, as well as the tax laws. You got to know about policies and codes. So it made me start really looking into, because I had to do a lot of paperwork as far as, going down into file for custody and things like that. So I learned a lot, about just really want to get deep into contracts.
You could advise other people in that same situation, right?
Right. So what inspired me? I'm sorry.
Can you please outline for us a couple of difficulties? Because whatever it is, right? You're having a very difficult time. You're having a lot of challenges, but you pulled yourself up and out of that situation, which I'm very inspired by that. I really enjoy hearing about.
Wow.
People,
because
we all face adversity. We all do.
Right.
But we don't all manage to survive.
Right. Exactly. And I appreciate you. And I appreciate you for saying that, because that means a whole lot, because a lot of times. Okay.
Give us a couple of examples of specific difficulties that you've seen people experience, like someone who, for example, here's a couple of that people have had and how you advise them.
If she was breaking up and having some difficulties,
might be my screen. Okay, yes. So yeah, he was about to answer.
Can you hear me?
All right. Yes. Having a little bit of technical difficulty, but go ahead. Can we hear you? Yeah, you can answer now.
Hey, can you hear us, Steve?
Yeah,
can you answer that? Can you
what I asked Steve was, can you give us a game people struggle with you? Give us a couple of examples of what they're struggling against, and also how you've advised them.
Oh, some examples of some problems that you've solved and how you've advised people.
Oh, okay, great. Because I'm glad you asked that question, because dealing with our clients here at Sam Living Legacy and our Sam Mobile Tax, flip side of the legacy part, where I have a lot of clients come in that's in distress because of personal situations, family, just especially after COVID and different things like that. So a lot of people were traumatized. So the thing about it is that people coming in like just being who I am, just being my genuine self, and just loving on people, and always keeping a smile on my face, things like that. People, and then a lot of the some of the people I have working relationships with already, they know me. So the thing about it is they know my personality, how I am, and they know that I'm a person they can count on, and they can not just like and know, but trust. Because when you in any professional
Right.
business, people not only have to be able to like you and know you, but they have to be able to trust you. And trust is something that you don't throw around. Trust is something that you earn. So I've earned the trust from them, whereas they're able to come in, like, to share a little bit about the situations they have going on, and I'm able to, come from a spiritual standpoint, not from a religious standpoint. Saying from a spiritual standpoint, whereas saying just motivating, encouraging people, and let them know that words hold power. That you need to govern what you say and what you think, because thoughts, saying produce actions. So that's pretty much how I approach the situation with my clients, just with anybody I might come in encounter with, because we have a holistic mental health piece that I'm going to holler the name about too as well. But
Yes.
that I just got a revelation. But as far as people's mental health, spiritually and mentally, because what good is we got this saying that goes, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Mm.
Okay. But then if it don't make sense, then it don't make dollars. Not saying sense as in dollars, as in money or funds, but as in sense, as far as your mind. Hello. Name up. Name up.
Yes. Okay. And so we are back live, and let me make sure that our guest joins us. Let's see if we have him. Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
back. Okay. Yes.
Ain't nobody mad but the devil. That's the only person that's mad. That's when you know something great is happening. We got some great things going on.
Yeah. So well, we've got the handsome face of our guest back, Steve Mosley, who is a tax accountant, and of course, we have our loyal viewers and listeners that are with us, and our dear friend Quentin DeAlexander, who is an extraordinary businessman, says, "Great show topic. Thanks for joining us." You know, one of the things that I've been doing is referring a lot of my friends to Mr. Steve Mosley, because a lot of my friends in business are afraid of taxes because they think it's hard, or they think that, well, one of the things I'm going to ask about, I had a friend who was going through this situation. She was on public assistance and she started a business. And her business started to make money, but, you know, the money was, you know, some months she had money and then some months it was kind of lean. And so she was a little bit afraid to come off of.
Unreliable when you first start doing that, yeah.
Yes. So she was afraid to come off of public assistance because she didn't want to rely on the business, and then the business wasn't able to sustain her. But she was afraid she would get in trouble with the IRS if they found out she was making money. So she didn't really know what to do, and so she didn't file taxes at all, because she thought, well, if I file taxes, then, you know, they'll know I made money, then I'll get in trouble because I had public aid. So, Steve, how do you advise somebody who's in that in between stage of maybe they're on a fixed income but they want to be in business, but they're afraid that if they report their money, then their guaranteed money will be taken away? How do you help people get through that stage where they need to make money, but they need to look like they're not making money, but they're receiving money? What do you do?
First of all, that's public assistance. So that's public assistance, and we really should be relying on the public assistance. Don't get me wrong, because that's not really a source of a source of income, should I say? Now, unless you get SSI, SSA, Social Security, that's sources of income, because it all depends on the state of your health. You know, whether you're physically disabled and things like that, where you're not able to work and do different things. That all depends, because you still got people that's handicapped that's still to this day that's business owners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this thing can really go all kind of different ways. But my thing is that you're not really really making no actual, what you cash flow like that. So my thing is that, I wouldn't advise nobody just to say, well, don't get off of the public assistance, don't, because I don't know how you eat. You know what I mean? I just can't tell you to do that.
Yes.
If I'm making sense. But what I would say is that they,
because in Britain we have the same problem, and it's called the poverty trap.
Right.
So you want to be out there earning, you want to be running your business or doing whatever you want to do, but this thing of like, you're not ready yet to let go of your income. And I think a lot of people find themselves in that position for a while.
Right.
So what kind of advice would you give to someone who's in that situation?
Well, the advice I would give to a person in that situation is, first of all, like, it all depends. Like, when you're dealing with public assistance, you're really just dealing with food stamps and like medical coverage. So some people flip side might be more concerned because of the benefits as far as the medical part, because it's how they go see the doctor, the dentist, and things like this. So, but other than that, you still need hard cash. You still need some type of revenue. How you going to pay your rent? How you going to pay your bills?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, you have no choice but to go into business for yourself. First of all, we all are sole proprietors by birthright. If neither one of us ever go and incorporate a business, we still our own corporation.
Right.
Because we were born into the inheritance. You know what I'm saying? We part of the creation with the creator. God created. So he said, go and possess the land. We own this already by birthright. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we want to really get technical about it. But getting back to what we were saying, because I want to stick to the question, is that I would advise a person to move forward, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, to get some type of cash flow to come in, because how you going to survive? How you going to live? You can't live off of food stamps, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know. And my thing is that if anybody getting them, then I say get them. You know what I'm saying? because because you go and pay cash for groceries, they're going to tax you. Versus with EBT, it's a whole different story. You know what I mean? Because it's public assistance. So, I mean, but as far as the tax part of the question goes, they ask you a question, have you filed your taxes? You have the option to say yes or no. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever happened, because most people are not making, barely making up to $50,000 a year.
Right.
So really, there's nothing really to be afraid of. Oh, IRS is going to come after me. Now, when you start making hundreds of thousands of dollars all the way up to like the $1 million mark, then you can look at them to be knocking at your door. Especially if you haven't filed your taxes the prior years, starting with personal, let alone business. You know what I mean? Because the first thing that investors and financial consultants and people do that's multi-millionaires or billionaires, they go right to the IRS website to check out your transcript, to see your track record, to see if you really made any cash flow. This is how a lot of people, this is what determines.
You know, they used to say back in the day that the IRS would spend 20 grand to get back $1. You could probably put even amount in there, but I'm going to say 20 grand because they were so keen to catch people.
Mm-hmm.
They thought that you missing them.
Right.
So, do you think that's still true today?
Well, I'm going to say it like this: a lot of our people, especially in our brown and black communities, you know, we have not been educated. A lot of our ancestors, people back in that time, a lot of our people were forbidden to read. So therefore, if most people, if you paid them, they wouldn't read. Even if they killed them, they would not read. But we on social media all day strolling in somebody's business, you know what I'm saying, into the stereotypes and the product of the environment instead of controlling your environment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So go ahead. I'm sorry, Naomi. You had a question.
Well, I was just going to ask a question because, you know, you said, how would you advise somebody in that situation? But apparently, unless you're making a substantial amount of money, you really don't have to fear the IRS chasing you down to get paid. And a lot of people, they worry about the government is going to.
But they still need to file their taxes. They still need to file their taxes.
So they need to file.
Yes, they need to file. Because
so you need to show that you've made some. Right. You need to.
Exactly.
So the fear that people have is that if they show they've made money, then the poverty line that they have been living under, which allows them to get the public assistance, will then change, and they will not get the public assistance, which what you're saying, you know, that's usually how they used to eat, medical care, you know, and all that. They're afraid if they don't qualify for that,
right,
they won't be there, but they're still not making enough to be able to pay that if they didn't have the public assistance. So is there a way?
The poverty trap.
Right, it's the poverty trap, and I see it all the time.
Yeah,
people wanting to be in business, but they're afraid to legitimately be in business because if they have to document the money they're making, then that guaranteed income of public assistance may be taken away, and they don't feel like they're making enough to be able to actually take care of themselves without it.
Well, that's a psychological.
They might lose, you know, they might have to pay penalties. I mean, I'm remembering what happened to Will Smith. I don't know if you remember, but he went through this when he was a young guy, and all of a sudden he had a lot of success and a lot of wealth.
Yes.
And he ended up getting done by the IRA.
Yes, same thing with
Internal Revenue Service, IRS.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that happens to a lot of people.
They probably he hadn't even thought about it because, you know, he was a young guy. He was just out having fun and didn't know what he wanted to do.
Exactly.
Well, that's
very comfortable for him, so he got in trouble.
Yeah. Well, you know, we find a lot of entertainers and athletes. They might be the first one in their family that ever had a large sum of money.
Exactly.
Nobody knows how to advise them what to do. Nobody knows anything about taxes. They spend all the money and then they realize it wasn't theirs to spend. They had to pay the taxes and then they get in trouble.
Exactly. See, you know, and don't get me wrong, because, you know, if anything, I'm a taxpayer before I'm a tax consultant. So which me saying that is that the shoe was on the other foot. I was in that situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm just finally getting to the point in my life where I'm debt free. Now this is the land of milk and honey. This is the overflow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand, you know what I'm saying, like you said, how important being educated on the laws and the tax laws, how important that is, because we don't know what we have access to, what we've been having access to. Because the thing about it is that a lot of people say the rich get rich, the poor get poor. That's not true. We don't read. We all have access to the same thing. We as a human race have access to the same thing. But see, that's what knowing the tax laws come in at, the knowing the different credits as far as taxes, and going a little bit more deeper into taxes as far as it's a whole lot to taxes when it comes to different forms of publications. And there's a lot of things that I'm still expanding my horizons in. It's even been a professional. Because the tax laws change every year, you know.
So, because, you know, a lot of people don't find themselves in that position, all of a sudden having a lot of money. But some people do. So you're saying basically what you advise people to do is read up. Because the thing with athletes is that they have people there to advise them, right? Especially if you play for the NFL or the NBA. You know, you've got a lot of people there to advise you. Those of us who don't have the access to that kind of information, you know, because of advisors, what do you recommend that we do?
Well, what I recommend that any one of my clients, or even somebody, say for instance, they're Googling because of social media, because of search engines, they're putting in taxes and things like that. Of course, they have certain questions, consultation. We are just about hashtagging all the different areas as far as starting with consultation, whereas people can go to our website at samlivinglegacy.com, or people can go to our Facebook page, Sam Mobile Tax Near Me, which is our Facebook page, and our social media page, our Instagram page, which is Sam Mobile Taxes. Whereas a lot of our clients, you know what I'm saying, even one young lady from North Carolina, we're working on her personal and business return because she was screwed around so bad because the numbers did not make sense, it did not add up. So how could you be making $48,000, and then you say this person had two dependents and they're getting $34,000 back? No, that's a red flag. So they put a hold on this client's account. She Googled us and she pulled us up, called us on my Google business line number, things like that. And for you know what, we started. She went to our Facebook page. That's how she got in contact with us, and she saw the information because we have an actual virtual team that manage all our social media, that does all our appointments and website, things like that. So whereas it's driving in the traffic, and people are able to get educated through our social media pages, whereas too also where they go on our website and it's links to we're linked to the RSS website, whereas they have frequently asked questions and things like that, where they can just click right on it. It'll take them to whatever they need to know, and if they feel like they really haven't got enough information, of course they can book through our website. You know, things like that, available date and time.
Is that website samlivinglegacy.com? Is that?
Yes, that's it.
samlivinglegacy.com. Is that correct?
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's samlivinglegacy.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Excellent. I'm going to be giving you a call very soon. Look up this letter from the IRA. Not the IRA. Why do we keep saying the IRA?
The IRA, and that the isn't that the gun people? No, the IRA is some of the IRS is what.
IRS.
Right.
Obviously, I'm somehow linking the two of them in my mind. I got left feeling the other day because I'm a pensioner now, drawing my pension now in Britain. And because they know that I'm foreign, they wrote to me saying, you might be able to get some money from the U.S. taxation service, or whatever it's called it. Anyway, I wasn't all that. I mean, I'm okay about it because I haven't actually earned that much. It's not like I'm a millionaire and haven't told anybody. Not yet. But I mean, those days are coming, but they haven't come yet. So
it's on the way.
It's a little bit disconcerting when all of a sudden they're writing to me saying, when did you work in the States? And when did you not work in the States?
Yeah.
And I think they know this already, so why you ask that? But, they have to check, that's their job. But it is a little bit, I'm not worried about it, but it's a little bit disconcerting, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, a lot of our clients, people they have a lot of different issues. Like one guy right now is coming to me, he owes IRS $47,000 because they with this ERC credit thing, everybody went crazy after the COVID funds came out.
Yes. Oh yeah.
You have to prove that you're a business owner, things like that. Now the stipulations have really gotten reinforced because a lot of people were saying was getting this 10 to 20K and they were not business owners. They weren't incorporated. So now that the Stimulus Cares Act is still carrying on, even after Trump is not in administration to this day, whereas those laws are still applicable, but they have gotten even more stricter now, whereas you have to provide your articles of incorporation, your EIN number, you have to provide all the documentation because you're just not going to come and tell these people that you're going to give me 20 or 30K now. They're easy because of the scamming. You know what I mean?
There were a lot of...
So this guy, this brings me to my point. This guy got caught up. I'm sorry.
If you have a side hustle, you have to report it. Now, I'm sure that was always the case, but they didn't always, specifically focus on that. Now they're saying, if you have a side hustle, they're basically reminding people that we have to report it. Now, here's the thing, right? The British government, the British economy is failing. It's been failing for years. That's my personal opinion. It's been failing for years, but up till now, the government had been able to hide it in different ways. Whereas now, all of a sudden, they're cracking down on people. You might be earning £2 a week. You might not even be earning that yet in your business, but they're cracking down because, my opinion is that they're desperate. They're desperate.
Well, yeah,
making money on Amazon or all these online sites. They know people are making money. It may not be a lot of money, but it's just let's squeeze all the money we can out of these people because they're desperate. They're desperate because the economy is failing, and they're starting to have to admit it now. They never used to have to admit it before, but now they have to because everyone can see what's going on. Again, personal opinion. Any thoughts?
I think the American economy is kind of failing too, but I don't know. Well, Steve, one thing I would say, because I know a lot of people, they have like a side hustle. Maybe they do hair on the side, or other little things they might sell little dollar items or whatever. But but that's for their income stream. They feel like they should not report that, or they should not let it be known. I mean, what are the pros and cons for that?
Well, the thing about it is that first of all, you don't have to by law sign anything or commit to anything that you don't want. That's your human rights. Let's just go back to human rights because first of all, going back to us being already a sole proprietor. Because we come from the Creator, God Almighty. So we're made in His image and His likeness. So which means that we possess the same characteristics, traits, and qualities as He does. So, but getting back to that part about what you just said, as far as that people don't, as a sole proprietor, people don't have to report that. You have a choice, you know what I'm saying? But if once you incorporate something, that's a whole different story. Once you incorporate something.
Yeah, it is.
So is there a dollar amount? Is there a dollar amount or something above which it should be
reported,
filed, or recorded, or is there a dollar amount? Say, like if you say most people are not making $50,000 a year. So maybe you
Right.
got your side hustle, and maybe you make a couple of $100 a
Right.
week, and it keeps you afloat. But
Right.
at the end of the year, you know, it's less than 25,000 that you've
Right.
made.
So that's no really cash flow. That's below poverty. You know, the poverty medium as far as the income scale is concerned. So that's below the poverty line. So the thing about it is that when you start making, like I said, up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, see, now that's a different story because you don't know who watching you. You know what I'm saying? People be undercover all the time. And then, like I said, and people, you know, they got a lot of people for tax evasions. And one thing about it, the feds will come for you. They will come for you because you got a lot of people out here that's not your friend. You got a lot of Decepticons, as I call them. You got a lot of haters, snakes, and things like that. So therefore, they're going to be, you know, looking to rat on you. Like, oh, he out here making all this money. He ain't found no taxes. And ooh, people do it all the time. I've had a lot of case scenarios with my clients where people like, well, this and that happened. Ooh, this and that happened. And I have to slow them down and tell them, first of all, take a deep breath. Because you're not ready to make my brain like scrambled eggs. You gotta put all your pieces together, put your life together. You know what I mean?
Right.
Illegal activity. I'm not encouraging you to perform any kind of illegal activities, but we're just talking about scenarios that have happened to people. Like what happened with Will Smith. I'm sure you didn't intentionally get into trouble.
Yeah, he just didn't know.
Right.
Well, the thing about it is that I'm sorry.
It happened. He got in touch with the IRS. He got in trouble with them because he didn't file his taxes.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, if you grew up in a family that, you know, if you grew up in a family where, you know, the way you survived was there was a public assistance check that came every month, and so you're, you know, barely making it, and you didn't see anybody filing taxes. I mean, if you were living in poverty growing up, then you really don't even know any of the ways that people who make money use their money to make money. I mean, who talks to you about investment? Who talks to you about, you know, buying income property? I mean, who talks to young people who are living in a state of struggle about what to do when you start making money and how you invest it or how you run a business? Who talks to them about that? They never heard it. So you have a lot of people, not just the entertainers, sometimes athletes.
I think it's really time for a break now, but I really want to dive deep with this topic because it's really important what you're saying, Naima. And it's not even just people who grew up in poverty or lived on public assistance. People who saw their parents going out every day to a job, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right? How do you actually get beyond that income that your employer offers you? How do you actually become really wealthy? Because you're probably not going to get there by doing a 9 to 5. But for most of us, that's what we saw when we were growing up.
Right.
Parents coming home at the end of the day tired because they've been at work all day, and yet they never got rich.
And they saw paying taxes as something to fear because, like, oh, now I'm going to have more money taken out of my money, or they live for that whatever tax refund they got, which wasn't enough to really change their circumstances. It just gave them a little more cash flow.
Just so you can go and buy a new dress or something.
Yeah.
You're not going to get rich from that. Well, you can do. You can start very small. But I'm thinking, let's take a break and let's come back because I would like to deep dive into this topic. So we'll be back very shortly.
All right. Stay with us.
Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Life transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com. Okay, I am pushing the button. Nothing is happening. Technology is a wonderful thing.
Let's see if I can.
I'm going to try one more button. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of Associated Internet Radio hosts, On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platforms to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born to be. Once we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insight, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to onaireverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time.
All right. We are back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We're back.
Okay, cool. Never have we needed this message more than we need it right now. We don't need to have conflict. We can resolve our differences by sitting down and talking. I just wish we could get that message to more and more people, given the state of the world today. Okay, as I said, I want to do a deep dive into what you just said, Steve, and another question you just asked, Naima. Before we do that, I just want to see who's on the line, because we've got a caller. Good evening, welcome. This is Zhana. This is the Success Strategy Show. I just want to remind everyone, if you've got a question for my guest, please phone 515-605-9325. And outside of the United States, put a 001 in front of that, so it's 001-515-605-9325. We're here with my guest, Steve Mosley, who's a tax consultant, and we will, in a little bit, be talking about financial planning and financial prosperity for the coming year. But first, who's on the line, please? Area code 314. Hi, are you there?
And I think that there should be planning, but those
Bianchi.
demographic class that we've been mentioning, how you doing? They need to pay their taxes. And to say that they know nothing about it is ridiculous, because all our life we have been hearing the old slogan that the only thing that's guaranteed is death and taxes. Death and taxes. So make them pay their taxes. They want to utilize. They want to utilize all the things that taxes afford them: schools, roads, sewer, water, trash pickup. They need to pay their taxes. And to say that rich don't pay their taxes is just ridiculous. Well, ma'am, why do you keep cutting people off? And there's an audio part. We can barely hear you. Your voice is all muffled.
Can you hear me better now?
Can you hear me when I stop talking? Yeah. Okay, well, let me finish saying what I got to say. Go on, say it. People need to pay their taxes. You got drug dealers out there that's making money that do not pay their taxes.
Wealthy people who don't pay their taxes.
Well, that's not true. 22% of the income earners pay over 40, close to 45% of the taxes. That's reported by the IRS. The 10% of the income earners in this country pay close to 50% of the taxes. That's totally ridiculous. It should be on a scale that everybody has to adhere to.
Finding loopholes and different ways.
Legal loopholes.
To avoid paying their taxes.
They are legal loopholes.
Yes, which is about a big part of the
Well, you got a tax person, sir. Are they not legal loopholes? When you own a business, you got to put tires on your vehicle that you use in your business. Is that not deductible from the business, the gross income?
Yes, everything has to be reported. Everything as far as vehicle expenses, the insurance, all that has to be reported because that lessens your taxes and gives you a better, bigger break tax deduction. Because if you don't, you're gonna end up on the IRS, and that's the whole objective, not being able to, not having to be the older,
They are
right.
They are legal loopholes that you
The problem is legal loopholes, and it's the wealthy that have the benefit of legal loopholes.
Well, can I say this? Can I say this? Can I say this to you?
If you are working a manual job, your work clothes that you classify as those that's for extreme heat and extreme cold is deductible.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, hold on. Right.
I'm imagining it's deductible if you're self-employed.
Okay.
No, it does not mean that you're self-employed. If you work, for instance, if you work in a construction trade, where your gloves, your work boots, your clothing, your insulator, all that is deductible from your gross income.
That's true. I think a lot of people who have businesses don't know these things.
Let me say this as a tax consultant. Okay, not because I think I know everything. I don't know everything. We all learn from each other. Let me say that first.
No, really.
Okay. So let me.
Your experience, please.
Okay. Are you guys done?
Yeah.
You guys done?
We're listening.
That's all across the wall, back and forth.
Yeah, we're listening to the tax consultant now.
First of all, it's listening. Listening is a skill because if we throwing words all over the place, that's confusion. And God is not an author of confusion. Let me say that. Okay, that's where being educated and knowing what's going on. Okay, first of all, when you're a W-2 employee, you're not really recording expenses. Now the job, they have union dues and things like that as far as uniforms, things like that. It's how they have it set up as far as taken out of your check. Okay, but being reported as expenses is something totally different. Expenses come in is when you're self-employed as a sole proprietor. You don't have to be incorporated to file, self-employment. But it's still better to be incorporated as being self-employed because you get more tax breaks, you get more benefits. It's more. I want to use the right word. It's more. You get more. What is the word I'm trying to use? But you
benefits?
get more benefits. We can say benefits in this case. It really wasn't the word I was looking for. But we'll say benefits in this case. So, and that's where different things as far as a business will be reported, as far as anything, as far as paper, supplies, payroll, inventory, all these things. You know what I mean? So it all depends on how your business is set up, how it's structured, because you have LLCs, you have S corps, you have C corps, and you have non-for-profit 501c3s. Now, I heard conversation about the rich folk. The rich folk this and that, the rich folk this and that, the rich folk this and that. They get all these tax breaks. That's because they know the tax laws. If you want to have something for my people, put it in the book. Can I finish? Can I finish, please? Right. Let me finish making this point because I don't want any one of us to miss anything. Because in actuality, this is a consultation session now. Okay, so that way we won't get it twisted because we got people that's listening to us We don't know what we're tapping into, what we're coming in contact with. So we have to be mindful that we're not misleading the people and giving them misleading information. There's laws on misleading your clients or audience or whatever, however we want to call them. But that's important. That is very important that we know what's going on, because how the rich stay rich is that they understand taxes, and what they do, they invest in index insurance and foundations. Okay, our problem in our community is that we talk about the problem, but we never do anything about it. So that's why I thank God that, for us having this platform, for Neighbor, you having this platform, for us to be able to educate and inform and enlighten our people about the Sam Living Legacy. Sam Living Legacy is just not set up as Sam Living Legacy itself, but it's set up to create and co-create other legacies. My objective is not to hold anybody hostage, but simply to educate them from.
Because you said that what really inspired you and got you to turn your life around and experience the success you have now was that you were looking after your daughter. You were dealing with all these problems, all these difficulties, all these challenges. But what inspired you and what motivated you to pull yourself out of these difficult situations was that you were looking after your daughter. And I find that very touching, actually. It really touches my heart. And I would like to know what kind of advice would you give parents in terms of how to educate their children to be financially literate? Because I think a lot of us, and I'm talking specifically but not exclusively about Black people, a lot of us are not financially literate. How can we educate the next generation?
Well, everybody's experience is different. At least I know, personally speaking, experience is the best teacher. But the thing about it is that, by me being a single father, going through what I went through and not having my father in my life, not getting a relationship established with my father until I was 21, my father ended up passing a year after my first brother got killed. So there was a lot of situations and scenarios that happened. But the thing about it is that I've always made a vow to God that when I had my own child, that I would never leave my child regardless. So I didn't realize what I was signing up for, and I realized that I was going to end up with full legal custody of my child, of a young lady at that. So that made me really look at things in a different light, that made me watch what I said and what I did around her, things like that, because you lead by example. And I always told her that you're not going to get a pie in the sky, and money don't grow off trees unless you go out there and plant it, and that, before things get better, they may get worse. So always be prepared for the worst, so that you can embrace yourself, to endure, to go through the challenge, because that's what I had to do. And it was my faith, in God that kept my sanity. Because if it wasn't my faith and me having faith, who knows where I would be. I wouldn't even be having this conversation with you guys. I probably would be in somebody's penitentiary locked up, or whatever people did, because they always predict that most of our, people in our community are Black men, that they already predicted it from second grade, third grade, that we would go to prison it's called from public schools to prisons to prison pipelines. Whereas, they already predict that, hey, they're going to be this, they're going to be that. And no, I'm not a statistic.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not a statistic. I'm not a statistic, and I will never be a statistic, So that's important.
Well, I have a question about what I would call poverty consciousness, where people get used to identifying themselves as poor, and the habits that they have reflect their belief that they don't have enough and will never have enough. And it's interesting, Iyanla Vanzant mentioned she got to a point in her career where she was making millions. I mean, she was making money, but she was spending everything she made. So at the end of the month, she was always short, even though she had a lot. And then she finally realized that it was a way of thinking. If you grow up always believing that everything you have to spend it, and then after you spend everything, you still don't quite have enough, so you're back in debt. That's a mindset. And I think even poverty can become a mindset where people are believing.
Always a mindset. It's not that it can be one.
It is.
It's always a mindset.
And it's created.
And so prosperity and abundance is a mindset.
Right.
Mindset comes first. I've written so many books about mindset.
seeing the results, the physical, tangible result. It has to start with mindset first.
So I think even people who are wealthy, that is a mindset also. If you see yourself as having abundance and you take the time to learn how the laws can benefit you with whatever your income is, then that is an attitude. And I think when people are willing to take the time to learn, then they benefit. Because I mean, Steve, you mentioned, of course, going through the courses and everything. You know, so many things are on YouTube now where you can learn, even if you don't go to a university and get a degree.
Yep. Right
There's
on,
nothing stopping a person from Googling U.S. tax laws, British tax laws, wherever you're at, finding out what the law is, and then finding out at what income level do you need to pay and what percentage of taxes, and what are the tax benefits, what are the tax write-offs, what are the legal loopholes. There's nothing stopping people from studying that information so that they benefit from it. So even if you're making $20,000 a year, and maybe according to the law that might be below the poverty line, but if you're figuring out how to budget your money, how to live within your means, and how to invest a portion of it so that it pays you, and if you're figuring out a way to maximize your income and the use of your income and get rid of some of the wasteful things we do, you can get all the benefits, all the tax benefits of the rich.
Exactly.
And still live comfortably.
Exactly. So
it's a mindset.
I'm glad you guys are on the subject about mindset. We have a mental health piece, you know, a holistic mental health piece, which we're an organization. We have a non-for-profit 501c3, which is a Project Solution 2, that really started out as a Stop the Violence movement. But at the end of the day, we found out that people's mental health, spiritual mental health is everything. So, and that's our specialty is spiritual and mental health, and the things about it is that as far as therapy, and our theme for our organization, for our Project Solution 2, and you guys are talking upon and speaking upon, that's how I noticed the revelation, and there's a stronger connection with this whole thing. Whereas our theme is transformation of renewed minds, and we get it from the scripture, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I tell my clients that, you know, that's why we really are pushing this mental health piece more than anything, because for a client to really sit down and really have a full professional dialogue, a conversation on the financial, economical level, their mind got to be right. And I've been constantly saying this over and 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 over again. And I hear y'all strongly, passionately talking about this. So this is a deep concern of mine as far as this, because we have to get past the trauma.
Yeah.
Let's just admit that we all have a problem, and we all have been traumatized. And the worst form of trauma is grief. You know, and then a lot of us lost loved ones from COVID and things like that. So we got to understand that a lot of our lives.
So you're fading in and out a little bit.
Wait a minute. Okay, where's our volume here? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. I think we hear you now. Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of things have, you know, changed in our society, in our world.
Yeah. Check your volume on your device. The volume went down a little.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let me check my. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Let me reposition my microphone too, so you probably can hear me better. Can you guys hear me a little bit better now?
Yes.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But that is so important because, you know, a lot of our people have been severely traumatized, and this is what the transformation process is taking place as we speak. We're in the process of working on some events now coming up within the New Year's, probably like within May sometime, or, you know, let's just say mental wellness month, things like that. Because as far as people getting therapy wherever they at, meeting people wherever they at, because this is how we want to get through. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A lot of us have been through we already know we've been oppressed for over 400 some years of trauma. You know, saying whatever.
Yeah, your sound is yeah. Check your
Let me check my
yeah. You check
sound
your volume on your computer. Make sure it's up all the way.
Hold on.
You know, I can definitely appreciate what you're saying about
check. Let's see.
The mental health being part of it, because if you look at people who steal, it's out of fear that they don't have the ability to earn enough, and the fear that people will not share.
Is that better, guys? Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit better.
It's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Well, it's not just fear, though, Naima, because it's also, some people enjoy stealing because they think that proves that they're smarter than the rest of us.
Well, you know, that's part of a person's
a perspective that I share, but there's a lot of people out there who steal for the fun of it.
Well, you know, when people from what I've observed, when people choose to steal, the attitude is, and I had someone who done time in jail tell me this is how his thought was. Yeah, you got it, I want it. You know, I should have what you have.
Exactly,
I mean, that's just the plain thought. And
the mindset. It's the mindset.
Yeah.
It's the mindset of the people. Yeah. What we got to realize is that they tell you to control your environment. Do not become a product of your environment. Control your environment. But what we got to realize and understand, though, to all these stereotypes, all these different things that we have been taught and learned. Nobody's born to be a racist. Nobody's born to be this. Nobody's born to be anti-this. That's learned and taught behavior. That is a curse.
So isn't poverty a learned behavior? If you grow up in a household, if you grow up in a household where your parents are always telling you you're poor,
to their children, can you give us 3 points that parents need to give to their children to help them to become prosperity conscious?
Yeah. What can parents say to their children to help them become prosperity conscious and not poverty conscious?
Well, the things about it is that, first of all, we have to instill it in ourselves as an individual, as an adult, as a parent. You know what I'm saying? First talk to our own selves. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And
how can we help the next generation?
Well, how can we help the next generation by getting ourselves together first? Because what do we have to offer them?
Sure,
we have first offered ourselves, and we not have gotten any help.
And then, can you give me 3 points, please, for parents to help their children to develop prosperity mindset?
I believe that parents, first of all, need to
mindset.
I believe our parents need to motivate our children more. Okay. So, and that's what motivating ourselves come into play. Because if you're not motivated, you're not going to be able to motivate them. So we have to motivate our children, you know, sending everything. Just we have to let them know.
How do we motivate the children? How can we do that?
Well, how we motivate the children is by rewarding them for their accomplishments and things like that, and acknowledging when they do something good. Because it's easy to point out all the wrong things, and you're doing this, you're being bad, this and that. Outside of really recognizing what the small things are the things that they are doing, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know, to get them credit for it. I believe, and I know that's a great start, because everybody at some point wants to be recognized and told they're doing a great job, rather than people always jumping on them and talking crazy to them, always putting them down, you know, because none of us are perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Absolutely.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I think our caller had Pianki, you had a comment on that?
That problem is not the child's problem. The child doesn't cause that. No child wakes up in the morning wanting to be a failure. That problem comes from parents, family, and community. If you look at the academic performance of Black children, not all of them.
Yeah. Hello?
Want to do, there should be some direction from adults. They should be assessed, surveyed and evaluated to see what their NF abilities are, then direct them into those resources that help them to improve on those. Direct them to high-paying professions and jobs. Everybody can't be an entrepreneur. How many stores you gonna have in a block? Anyway, I continue to listen.
Well, this is a thought that I have, and you can tell me what you think about that. Because one of our hosts was trying to encourage her grandchildren to think more about other options other than just college, because their mother had said, well, look, if you don't go to college, you're not going to be a success. And if this is the message that we tell our children, and they see that their parents are struggling financially and they don't see where there's money for college, that could easily be a very discouraging thing.
Yes.
But some of the wealthiest people in the world never went to college at all.
Never.
It doesn't take
anything
to start a business other than just deciding what you want to sell.
A vision, having a vision.
So I think we should encourage more entrepreneurship and praise them, like you're saying, praise them for those achievements.
Yes.
But show them that all business is buying and selling. It's not that hard. And then, because this nation was founded by people who were in law and farming and business, the tax laws are geared to benefit those people who create a business. That is an incentive for you to become a person who buys and sells goods or services. So learn how it benefits you, and you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have a whole lot of income. There are people all over the internet today talking about how look, you can make money.
Exactly. The simplest thing.
Being the go-between for a person ordering something on Amazon and somebody being a supplier. I mean, it's so many different ways that people can earn money. And it doesn't require a large cash flow to get started.
I agree.
But I think our children get discouraged because it's made to seem so out of reach.
It's not. We all need to, we all need to learn entrepreneurial skills. And I think the sooner we can do that, the better. And I've actually heard Bianca say something today, which I agreed with. I don't think this has ever happened before.
Yeah, y'all never agree. So mark this day down in history.
Bianca actually said something that I agree with, which is that the parents have got to make the schools what is the word now? The parents have to make the school, hold the schools accountable, right? We can't just expect, when children start school, they want to learn, they love to learn. Young children love to learn. They lose that enthusiasm because of the schools.
Yeah, that's true.
The education system is not good for our children. It's not. So it's up to the parents to make sure that school is accountable and is teaching the children. So that parents, I've heard this story at least twice today where families have said to their children, and they're both black boys who have heard this from today, parents have said to their children, you're not going to amount to anything.
I hear that all the time.
Families have said to the children in the family, you're a loser, right? Your father was a loser, so you're a loser, right? This is down to the parents, and it's down to the family members. We need to be instilling a prosperity mindset in the next generation in their minds, because that's what's going to lead to success.
Well, let me ask you this question, Steve. Do you think it's the parents' responsibility to teach about things like income, household financial management, and tax laws, or should we expect the public schools to do that? What do you think?
Well, first of all, charity begins at home. Okay. So therefore, every other nationality and origin teaches their children about their origin, about who they are, and what they are.
Yeah. Your volume is a little low again. Let's see if we can raise your volume a bit.
Can you hear me now? Can y'all hear me? Is that better? What about now? You still can't hear me?
See if you can raise the volume on your computer. Maybe that's it.
Okay. What about now? Can you hear me? Still can't hear me? Hold on.
We'll just project your voice. We'll do what we can.
Hold on for a second. Hold on. Let me see if I can adjust something. Let's see.
Because that's always been the debate. People realize that the schools aren't teaching finance. Well, that's not their job. Their job is to
Yeah,
to
you all hear
prepare
me
us for
now?
factory work. That's how the modern
Can
day
you hear me
public
now?
schools were set up.
Is
And
that better?
so if we want to transcend that,
It's true in Britain as well. The
Is that
reason
better?
why state schools started opening is that because of the Industrial Revolution, the parents were at work all day. So what are you going to do with the children? Either you can put them in the factories and make them work too, which happened quite a lot, or you can provide for them, educate them. Hey, Naima.
yes.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're still a little low.
Your curriculum.
Still can't hear me?
Curriculum in the majority of American cities, school districts can be whatever the local community.
Okay, that's better. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Stature.
Okay. Okay, now back to what
you want the curriculum to be. They can have it like that. And you know, I've spent about 3 hours today and yesterday sending texts out to my friends of scholarships that are free.
Yeah.
Cuban medical program where a child can go there and become a medical doctor and practice medicine in the United States.
Yes.
Tuskegee Airmen is offering $90,000 a year to produce people in avionics and the airline industry. And there's many of them. Down in southwest Louisiana and southeast Texas, by 2025, there's going to be a need for 125,000 construction workers. Well, start preparing your kids.
Yeah, I think that's a critical thing. Look at where the need is going to be and choose a career that's going to be in demand. I mean, that's the intelligent thing. Yeah. So, Steve, you were going to say about the who's responsible for teaching our children finance.
We're responsible for teaching our children finances, first of all, because once again, lead by an example. But see, a lot of us have not been taught.
Yeah.
A lot of us have not been taught, and then a lot of us have been taught. You know what I'm saying? Because what the saying goes, when you know better, you do better.
Yes.
But if you don't know better, then how can you do better?
Absolutely.
So that's where this piece comes in. This is like a financial literacy thing. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So that's what we're working on at Sam Living Legacy in this land of milk and honey that we're in now, as far as educating, creating workshops and doing workshops to really enlighten people, to let them know what they've been having access to. I'm gonna give you a prime example. Look at people like Colonel Sanders. Look at people like, all these people that came from nothing with getting a Social Security check and built $1 billion enterprise. And then you got people that come from nothing to build something. So it's not about how much money that you have. It's about management. As far as time and money, that's what it's about. That's the bottom line.
Well, I think also, I know we got to take a break in a minute, but I look at what people did when they got whatever that little incentive tax. Well, I don't think it was a tax.
The stimulus.
It was
COVID.
Stimulus money from COVID. Most people took that money and blew it on stuff. I saw more flat screen TV.
Yeah, mismanagement. For what? And that's more of a liability than it is an asset. That's not an asset. Owning property, owning real estate, things like that is an asset. A car is not an asset, because as soon as you drive off the car lot, before you drive off the car lot, as soon as you start it up, it depreciates.
But people want things. They want things so they can feel prosperous. So when they get a large sum of money, they don't do something with it that would change their
psychological damage.
They buy things so they can feel prosperous. But then after that thing breaks or wears out or whatever, they're back in that same financial state. So
you know what I call it?
What do you call that?
I call that the hamster on the wheel effect.
Yeah, you just
what does a hamster on the wheel do?
They run in circles but never get anywhere.
My point. It's funny. You can laugh at it, but it's not funny.
Ourselves out of that, because I think people are unhappy with their lives.
Yeah.
People are unhappy with their lives. That's why a lot of us make those kind of decisions. We don't spend our money wisely. We don't invest it, and we don't invest in our future.
So now,
we spend it on things, we spend it on stuff, and stuff can never really satisfy us. The human heart is not satisfied by things. But it gives us temporary relief from the strains and the stresses of life.
Especially with social media now. These social media platforms have created a platform where people feel like they have to be validated on these likes and having the viewers and things like that. I got. If you don't have any commas in your account, you don't have any zeros or commas in your account. What does viewership and all that have to do with dollars and cents? Absolutely. If you ain't got no dollars, if you broke, what good is being validated?
Absolutely.
Being validated for what?
Right. But it gives temporary relief. So, for a little while, someone can feel better about themselves. For a little while, we can feel better about ourselves. Right. And then we have to face the reality that we're still in the same place we were in last year and the year before last and the year before that and the year before that. So we need to educate ourselves out of that cycle.
Right. Well, I got a question, but I know we got to take one last break. I'm going to play a video ad.
Let's take a break and come back to your question, Naima. And I've got a question about focusing on financial planning for the coming year. So we'll be back in a moment.
All right. Hi, I'm Naima Latif. And if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection. Somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com.
All right. Well, we are back, and one of the things I'm looking at, you have people who are going to get, some people might get a nice tax refund. Steve, what would you say a person could do with that money that would actually make a difference in their lives and not just be some more consumerism where they're buying something that won't matter? What could they do in terms of financial planning or investments or something that could make a difference in their financial status with that tax refund money?
Well, first of all, get themselves some whole life insurance.
Oh, okay.
Because nobody's going to be here forever.
Mm-hmm. So his whole life, is that the policy that pays you, or you could
the policy that pays you more like an IUL account, as far as being tax free and it draws interest, versus setting up a regular retirement account in the bank where it does not draw interest and they constantly taxing you on the dollar.
Oh, okay. All right. Whole life insurance policy.
Yes. Yes. So that way, just say for instance they become terminally ill, anything happens, they have something to fall back on, the cushion where they be able to have the expenses covered.
So
because you still got to survive.
Isn't it like 2 years before it's enforceable or something like that? They have to be paying into it.
Yes, at least a couple of years, because with anything that you invest into, because that's a start. Because you have to secure yourself some kind of way, because this is not just something that's for you, a policy waiting for you to die, but it's an investment setup as far as if you want to move further in life outside of a job. You might want to do a business. It's a lot of different things you might want to pay for your kids' college tuition, things like that. And after a while, when you build up, it's like your own banking system, pretty much. Because in the banks, you can't draw interest in the bank, but you draw interest in your own account and your own contract and your own IUL, that you set up.
So I got a quick question. I don't know if you know the answer to this. I might have to ask my insurance person or my Yeah, my life insurance person. But
Right.
if you've been paying into a regular life insurance policy that's supposed to, pay the beneficiary on your death, that kind of thing, can you convert it to a whole life policy and use the money that you've already paid into it, or would you have to cancel that and start all over and all that money you paid is just gone?
Well, that could be done. I mean, I don't know the exact steps and measures to take to do it, but I know that it can because you have made an investment. Your money has been investment. And how long have you been paying your insurance?
Oh, at least 10 years.
Oh shoot, you got some skin in the game. It's been a decade. So anything that's a decade is considered as a milestone, automatically is an investment. Because let alone 10 years, let alone for your average typical person, let alone 5 years versus none. So I say that's the first thing that individuals need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because what if something happens to you? While you want out here, you going here, this and that, something can happen.
Mm-hmm. Now, another quick question about investing in life insurance. Okay, my mother recently turned 100, and from my understanding, like all life
Congratulations.
insurance policies, like cancel it at 85. It's like, okay, we ain't paying you no more. What does a person do if they outlive their policy? Should they have it so they can cash it in, at age 85, so that so all the money's not wasted because they outlived it? I mean, what would you advise on that?
Well, what I would advise, what they would do is take that money, and of course, it's called planning. Plan and just put a certain amount of money on just in case something happens to you, because you live way beyond that. If something happens to you, something can easily happen. Not saying it will, because look how long you live.
Yeah, but, I mean, eventually going to leave here because that's what happened.
Right. Exactly. So therefore, they need to count that expense, find out how much the expense is going to cost, whether they want to be buried, cremated, things like that, and put put an account, set up an account just for that. So that way, they're secure. I know things change, the prices, things like that go up, but things change, and they change and they don't change. It all depends. But at the end of the day, at least if you have that money set up in some kind of account, savings account, and everything else, where you won't have access, you won't be able to go into it like you do a regular checkings account. Then you'll be securing yourself, and that way, hey, you can continue to live because you already pretty much live. Right. What more else that you're gonna really discover you're gonna do? I'm not knocking it, but life goes on. Whether you living or whether you dead, life goes on.
Absolutely. Well, like Zhana was asking earlier about what are some things that parents can tell their children. What I see a lot of parents doing is making children feel like they're at the mercy of someone else deciding whether or not they can survive. And I think parents should empower their children.
I realize now this is why I originally wrote my book, Strategies for Black People, because talking specifically about Black people, we have a tendency to think that everything that happens to us, right? We don't actually create our circumstances. And I think there's historical reasons why we have this kind of mentality. So I found when I used to teach, right, a lot of my students were white, and they did not have the same fear of self-power.
Yes.
They had a fear of other power, which I don't see very much among Black people. Done with other power, generally speaking, but when it comes to self-power, it's a big problem for us. It's just, as I realized eventually, the main reason why I wrote my book is to say that we all have the power to change our lives, to bring about positive transformation.
Absolutely.
I just thought I'd mention that, yeah?
Yeah, I definitely agree to that. And now I had a situation, I had a friend who told me about his situation when he'd graduated from college with a master's of business administration, and his college roommate, he was a Black guy, his college roommate was a white guy. They both graduated with MBA degrees, and his white friend, took his little savings. He didn't have a lot, just because they were just out of college. He had maybe a little money he'd saved from his job and that sort of thing. And he started a company, incorporated, started a company, did the whole thing, the logos, the business cards, all of that. And he was operating out of his apartment at first, but he was in business. So they got together maybe like 10 months after they graduated, and his friend handed him a business card saying, "Oh, I'm president of blah, blah, blah corporation." And he was like, "Well, how did this happen? Well, did your parents leave you some money?" Like, "No, I did this myself." So now my friend who is Black, he was still unemployed, looking for a job. And he's saying, "Well, corporate America won't give us a chance. And see, my white friend, because he's white, he can create opportunities. But
Yep, here we go.
Oh, but Johnny had the same degree. All he did was
Exactly.
business cards made and corporate
Exactly.
and say he's in business. He's the president of his company. It's a
Right.
mindset.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I agree. I agree.
And I think we need to be training our children from a young age.
Yes.
Have that similar kind of success mindset, prosperity mindset, that we can go out there and we can do it.
I think that's
well, it goes back to a lot of us not knowing now, because
not knowing.
Like say, it's a lot of celebrities. I'm gonna give you a prime example. We're gonna use. I'm gonna remain unanimous with the other person because I don't want it to become controversy. But Fantasia, prime example. Fantasia is very well gifted voice and things like that. But Fantasia she was illiterate, and she came out and shared her testimony, her stories on Lifetime, where she couldn't read or really write. You know what I'm saying? But she's gifted. But in the day, and she didn't know. But later on, she started, they started doing some, what you call it, the learning literacy, reading literacy and programs, things like that, where she, they taught these things. And now, look where she's at now.
Yeah.
Look where she's at now. Just did The Color Purple.
Right. Because you got to be able to read in order to read a script. So, yeah.
Right. So, she's got, you can tell she's improved, and she did not have pride. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people have pride. You know what I'm saying? And when you have pride, you can't grow.
Yeah, you got to be able to admit, hey, I don't know.
You got to admit that you got a problem. You got to admit that you have a problem, first of all. If you don't admit, first step is admitting. If you don't admit, you don't.
There's going to be things that we don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
How educated we are, it doesn't mean we know everything. We don't.
Right.
It's not like an educated fool. It's not like an educated fool. The old saying goes.
Absolutely. We got a couple of comments here. Robert Young says, "Great show. Happy 2024. New Year is in April." Yeah, there's a whole history of that. The New Year actually.
Hey, I receive it. I receive that. That's the truth. That's the true knowledge. Yeah.
And Zelda, our Monday morning mindfulness host, says, "Grand Rising, Zhana and company. Awesome. Yes. A whole lot of people might be maybe their first college graduate in their families, and if their families hammer in their head, get you a degree and then get you a good job with benefits or whatever. And they never thought to empower them with the idea of you can create your own job. And I understand not everybody's an entrepreneur, but if you've been unemployed for 10 months out of college, you need to do something, especially you got a degree. What was the purpose of learning about business if you were afraid to go into business?
I'm glad you said that, Naima. I'm glad you said that, Naima. I'm sorry. I'm glad you.
People are making serious money producing T-shirts. You can get started on a shoestring budget.
I'm glad that you said that too, Naima. What you just said as far as creating a job, because see, I was in a situation like that in 2019 before I incorporated Sam Living Legacy. Of course, I been doing taxes for almost about 12 years.
Yeah.
But I've been my business owner for going on for about 4 years now. So in 2019, I was in a situation where the job was on some crazy things and crazy stuff, and I was depressed. And this is the year before my mom passed, and my mom told me my mother wasn't feeling well herself. She was having health issues, and she was like, "Steve," she said, "What are you going to do?" She said, "You're going to sit here, hold your head down, think about this, think about that, worry about these." She said, "Your bills and things are going to start piling up. Things are going to start falling apart. You can't let things fold in on your head." She said, "You got all these gifts and talents. You got all these different people and things that you didn't help. You've done all your life. Don't you think it's time for you to do something, create something?" And she said, "You're good at writing. You know how to incorporate this stuff. I've seen you do this stuff. Why don't you go ahead and do it?"
Yes. Now that's
a prime example. Today is the reason why Sam Living Legacy exists, is because of people like her standing on the shoulders of greatness that inspired me to let me know, hey, get up out that ditch. You better than that. I raised you better than that. You can do better than that. You can do it. And it's a prime example. Then a year later, my mom dies.
Yeah, but she was there to encourage you. And we got another associate, same thing. His mother told him, "Look, you can be a great photographer."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
all the things you're trying to do, keep working at it. She passed away, but you know, he's always reminding. My mother was the one that told me to keep going. So that's what parents can do. When you see your child has gifts and skills and talents, encourage them to go ahead and use those talents and not wait for somebody else to give them something. Because what if that corporate job doesn't happen? And of
Yep.
course, you got another businessman here on the screen saying, "What's up, Steve?" From John.
Hey John, what's going on, John? How you doing, John? Like I said, man, I seen you pop up, man, but the conversation got so juicy and everything else. I'm looking forward to seeing you, John. I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon, man. Come see me, come talk to me.
Yeah, there we go. So, you know, we got a lot of people who have talent and skills and just never were in the environment where their parents encouraged them. And so you might have, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they had it rough because they didn't have there we go. Okay, you're gonna hear from them.
Yes, sir. Look forward to it. Look forward to it. We're in the land of milk and honey. We're in the milk and honey.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of first-time entrepreneurs in a family have a hard time if they came from a family where no one ever was independent, ever started a business, ever knew anything about the benefits of being in business, the tax laws that are for not just the wealthy, but for anybody who's in business. You know, they didn't have a family that had that experience. So maybe they wanted to start out starting a company. They might not have had a whole lot of support for that. Matter of fact, a lot of entrepreneurs that I know have said that their family ridiculed them, said, "Look, you need to stop that mess and get out here and get you a job." You know, they could not find investors in their business. They couldn't find people who would loan them money. I mean, there was no emotional or financial support because they didn't come from a culture where people saw business as freedom, the way we did decades and decades ago, when in our communities we had all of these businesses, because everybody knows that the way you get ahead is to sell something. Every immigrant knows that. But we went through a period of time where a college education was pushed as the you know, the road to freedom, or you know, the promised land. And then we got out here, and when corporate America shut down, people didn't have any other creative means of earning a living, and so they suffered. And we're still in that stage now where our children, if they're not seeing an opportunity for college, they're not given any other alternatives.
See,
and
you know what? I'm sorry. Can I say this name to bring up a very valid point? Is that it's the difference between being an entrepreneur and a business owner. We all are entrepreneurs in our own right. Goes back to sole proprietor, self-employed, whatever you want to call it. But it's a big difference between being an entrepreneur and a business owner. Most of us are in an entrepreneur mindset, but yet we still have all these LLCs and non-for-profit set up that we have not made never gotten any funding in over 15 to 20 years that you've been in existence. There is a problem. There's a serious critical issue.
Also, I want to mention that it's important to have an entrepreneurial mindset, even if you're in a job, right? Even if you're on a corporate plantation, you can still enhance your career and your progress by having an entrepreneurial mindset, by looking around. If this was my company, what would I do differently?
Yes.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because, see, there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and a business owner. See, the thing is that what people got to understand is that when you're an entrepreneur, you can float around like a bumblebee. You can go anywhere in the world you want to go. But at the end of the day, even if you have your stuff set up as a corporation and everything else, where's your cash flow? What's going on with your baby? It's like walking away from your baby and not feeding your baby. If you don't feed your baby, it's going to die.
Absolutely.
So I think we need to start being more responsible responsible what's going on of the situation. You know what I'm saying? So that way we won't be encountering these type of situations because we're not taking care of our business.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Even though a lot of us have not been educated, a lot of us still know better, but a lot of us think we know it all. We won't listen. And that's why I tell my clients that when I'm dealing with anybody, and I'm straightforward, and I let them know, like, I need you to hear what I'm saying. So I don't want you to miss what it is that I'm saying, because what's going to happen is most clients know what they do. Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh, yes, we did. That's exactly why, we make sure that we record things. Sometimes we go into session via Zoom with our virtual team. So that way we hold ourselves accountable as a business owner. So I had to learn that to be an entrepreneur, because my background is production. I was in film and TV, then theater for 20 years, and things with Walden and a lot of other groups out there. But the thing about it is that being a business owner, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, in these few years, it's a total different experience for me. Now that I've completed the Joseph Business School, it has really taught me the spiritual standpoint, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, how you believe, your belief system, what you speak, holds power, right, in the vision and making plain. From that standpoint on, still letting people know too, at the end of the day, it's got to make dollars, it's got to make sense. The bottom line, really simplifying things. You know what I'm saying? That's where business planning comes in, as far as being able to get the financial planning, because we had to do a business plan. We had to do actual financial report with all these spreadsheets. And I'm looking like I literally almost went crazy. But the thing about it, about being in taxes, you know what I'm saying, prepared me for that avenue, so that way I'll be able to educate my brothers and sisters to let them know, hey, look here, we can holler the white man all this all day. Guess what? People gonna continue to do what they've been doing. The immigrants, guess what? They do it because we don't take care of our business.
Right. They that's it.
And a lot of us don't want to work. A lot of us don't want to work. You know what I'm saying? And then we wanted all these big money when COVID came. But where is your track records? Where's your track record?
And then they blew the money and got in trouble. And John is saying you have to just start and believe in yourself. And I think that's the bottom line. If you believe in yourself, then you take the time to get the knowledge. And like you're saying, the difference between a businessman, a business owner, and an entrepreneur. When you're on a business, you realize you're going to be employing other people. You're going to have a team of people working. So like you say, you're doing production. You can't do a production by yourself. You got to have different people doing different. You got the camera person, you got the sound person, you got the engineer, you got all the you got the editor. So when you're in business, you think in terms of the money that you generate and how you're going to pay the people to do the work, so that you can continue to grow the business. But like you're saying, people will start out maybe with a nonprofit, and they don't have any, and they scuffling trying to get money, but they never think, how am I going to translate this into paying people for their service? Because just because it says nonprofit doesn't mean you're not supposed to have employees, or that everybody's got to volunteer.
You still have to make a profit.
You still have to make a profit.
You have to make a profit,
and you pay people. That's what all that means. Is that you pay people to do the service.
And you're doing something for a charitable cause, which makes you tax exempt.
Yes.
Which makes you exempt from paying taxes.
Right.
That's it.
But you still have the vision that you're going to have a cash flow.
Exactly.
And I would like to ask you, Steve, give us 3 points we need to bear in mind of this year. It's a new year. It's 2024. I know some people say it starts in April. That's fine. Most people in the West certainly are saying it starts now. So I'm going to go with that. Tell me 3 things that we need to bear in mind for our financial planning for the coming year.
First of all, freeing our minds from any negative thinking. Okay. Second of all, our time, as far as how we spend our time, how we, creating a timetable, not a timetable, but creating a calendar, whatever you want, as far as your daily routines. The time you get up, the time you go to bed, all this is management. And once you do that, and everything else to start, you start, get your calendar and dates. You start planning as far as, if you got an idea to do this, you want to do this, you want to do that. Holding yourself accountable, being responsible to hold yourself accountable, and creating that calendar. Writing things down, creating things. And third of all, following up and following through. Those are the 3 things that I advise if you want to be successful in this land of milk and honey. This is what you need to do. And I'm going to say in this case, this is what we better do. And I'm saying that for a reason, because we don't have time to keep on doing the same old thing, because people are constantly dropping dead every second. Somebody's dying. Somebody on a respirator right now. Somebody just checked the body here. So we got to understand that we were created on purpose for a purpose. That's all. That's it.
It makes sense to me. What one quick question? I see us get stuck on racism. Should we stop focusing on what other people are doing, or whether other people like us, or whatever, what other people are going to give us a chance, whatever? Stop doing that and put our attention on gaining the knowledge and the skills for whatever we want to do in terms of our goals, so that we do that and not get stuck on being angry at other people.
Yes, I agree that we need to take our mindset off of that. And I agree that we need to. Can I make my statement, please? Can I make my statement?
I think it's important that we know and understand racism. We know and understand our history. This is a historical context.
Yeah.
That we're living in, but we also we focused on the fact that we can actually change. We can change our own lives. We can change our family lives. We can change our communities. We don't have to just keep focusing on what other people are doing. I agree with you.
That's true. So Steve, you were saying.
I was saying that that we have to start focusing in on ourselves and stop worrying about what's going on with these other groups and other people. Like my mom, I'm gonna give you one case scenario.
Yeah.
Like my mom told me this before she passed away. She said, people always hollering, the bad black can do this and that. There's nothing wrong with that. We want to support our own all day. There's nothing wrong with that. That reminds me of the movies CB4, where he said, I'm black, y'all, and I'm bliggity, 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 black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. We could be so quote unquote black on black that we identify ourselves by that and not what's on the inside of us. Meaning that, you do business. My mother told me you do business with who does business with you. So which means that we have to change our mindset to be more diversified and open. Like I said, as long as you know who you are, that's all that matters. But what does that have to do with being educated on, what you need to do and what God gave us all? Even though we know that, that the system was created, all this stuff is a conspiracy. We know about all of that. But then when we get through talking about all of that, when are we going to get down to the bottom line of things and handle our business? Because God even said, the Creator even said, it's a scripture, I'm just quoting, I don't know exactly where it's from. He said to be a man in business. Okay, it said nothing. It had nothing to do with color, whether you was polka dot or whether you was over here, or whether you had one leg, one eyeball. It ain't got nothing to do with that.
Handle your business.
Anything you put your mind to, if you believe, you can achieve it. But you got to believe in yourself, and you got to want it. You got to want it.
Yeah, you got to want it. Yes. Well, I know we're about out of time, and we thank you so much for being with us. And of course, this is a great tax consultant that you need to call if you are going to benefit from the tax laws that exist. And John L. Alexander says 3 things I find the thing you want to seek some kind of finance. 3, work your plan. 4, talk with friends and family, let them know what you're doing. And 5, start doing what you plan to do. Great advice. Thank you so very much. All righty. Well,
how can people contact you, Steve?
Yes.
So if people want to take advantage of your services that you're offering, 60 seconds. How can
people... They can contact me at 708-374-7504. That's 708-374-7504. Or they can go to samlivinglegacy.com and book an appointment for a consultation.
Okay, that's 708. That's samlivinglegacy.com. I have that on the screen. And that number was
708-374-7504.
7504.
Yes.
Steve, I really appreciate you sharing your expertise and your knowledge with us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Anytime.
Are there any new services that you're adding this year? What are your plans for the coming year?
Well, the new services that we're offering is to be able to get people financing. So that's what we're offering this season, whereas it'll be more criteria friendly to a lot of our clients.
All right. Well, we thank you so very much. And got that phone number on the screen, 708-374-7504 for those who want to call you and take advantage of your services. And we We want to thank all of you for listening in, and those who called in, those who wrote in, and join us tomorrow for
We've come to the end of our show today.
Zhana on Soul Purpose Healing, right here on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central. And every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Female Solution. Thank you, Zhana, joining us live from London, our first Saturday of the month host. And join us again next month, first Saturday, for Success Strategies with Zhana. Thanks so much, Steve. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you. All right.
Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyama, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsahamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, Jeonkujeon, France, Merci, Spain, Gracias, Italy, Grazie, Egypt, Shukran, Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eshe, South Africa, Gabonga, Senegal, Geret, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Toda, Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan, Tashakkur, Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.